When I was in this auditorium, with 20,000 people there to see the leader of the Islamic Revolution, I wasn't seeing the rich kids of Tehran. I was seeing working class Iranians. And when he came out onto the balcony, when the Supreme Leader of Iran came out onto the balcony, he just walks out onto the balcony, the most gentle, he wasn't doing anything dramatic, just walks out. This audience just screamed in adoration. And people started sobbing and just sobbing and moving back and forth. And it was like the most dramatic moment when the Supreme Leader walked into the room. And the reason for that was because if it weren't for the Supreme Leader of Iran, these people wouldn't have running water. And they wouldn't have electricity. They saw the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, they saw him as the one who fought for their interests against the rich and powerful. And so I stood there in this mausoleum with my earpiece on, and I listened to the speech. And it was interesting, because at the time, negotiations were taking place between the USA and Iran. The nuclear deal was taking place. So I stood there, and I'm listening to the conversation. And, he's going on. I remember he said that we oppose both the crimes of ISIS terrorists and the crimes of police brutality in the United States, because they're both the same, and you must always oppose brutality. And I remember he said that the westernized Islam that works with the USA and terrorist Islam are both distortions, and we have our true version in Iran. But there's one moment that I will never forget. One moment that just touched me, because he was talking about the negotiations that were taking place between the USA and Iran. And he said that, these negotiations are taking place, that he was allowing the USA and Iran to negotiate around the nuclear issue. He said, but the USA and Iran would never be allies, he said. And he said that Iran would never align with American imperialism. And then something happened that I will never forget. Is he said that, which is commonly said in Iran, he said that the USA was the great Satan. And then I was the only American in an audience of 20,000 people who all began chanting in unison, "Death to America, death to America." And I stood there, and I froze, and tears went down my cheeks. I was just overwhelmed. And I think back on that moment. You don't forget a moment like that. You don't. And I stood there and I thought how horrible it is that this is what America means to people all over the world. They weren't chanting death to my family. They weren't chanting death to people who just want to get by. To them, America meant war. And it meant grinding countries into poverty. And it meant destruction. That's what America meant to them. And when I heard them chanting death to America, I thought, God damn it, how dare these people call themselves America? How dare the billionaires and the bankers that run this country call themselves America? These are the forces that would cut food to children in the Bronx so that they can build drones and destroy people and kill people in other countries. How dare they call themselves America? These are the people that sold America down the river with so many trade deals. These people have nothing to do with America. What they stand for is global financial dictatorship. And what people around the world need to know is that there's two Americas. Yes, there's an America of Wall Street billionaires and bankers, of militarists and prostitute politicians, sure. But there's another America. There's an America of people who just want to survive and feed their kids and live a decent life. There's an America of all the people who fought for social justice around the world and stood against empire and war. There's an America of all the people who've organized for women's rights and LGBT rights and so many struggles for justice that have taken place. There's another America